This video I want to share some of my personal experiences, something watching the video, some things I've been thinking about. Title of the video is I Don't Want to Be a Lion. And, the lions are known, have a reputation to be, the king of the jungle or, kings of the wildlife. And a lot of people would use lions as an example, to something that they like to strive after to become, a very powerful animal. And, I have great respect for lions, and I like the lions. But before finding out more information about them and how they live, I kind of get caught up in the hype and just be overwhelmed by the power of a lion. But recently, I saw a documentary specifically about lions that really disturbed me and made me double think, my thought processes and, wanting to be, have the lion be a symbol of power or symbol of excellence and striving towards like becoming, So the documentary is like this, where there's a king, the male lion, and then the lioness, and then they have 3 cubs. So very small pride, that's all they have, just them. And then there's another pride which has a lot of lions that wanted to overtake this smaller pride. So the king lion of the other pride came in to fight, this family or this pride, and pretty much beat up the king lion, and then they were after the lioness and then the cubs, basically going to kill the cubs off and make the lioness become a part of their pride, or kill her off. So she had to just basically run from the situation, and she was running away from them, and then the cubs were following her, and then she didn't want to submit, so then she kept running, and she passed like this, she got to this river, and then she swam across, and then her cubs would follow her. 2 of the cubs followed her just fine, like right away, but one of the cubs stayed back because he was kind of scared of the water. So then 2 of the cubs made it, and she made it, but then the little cub was scared, but then they were chasing, they're gonna kill him anyway. The other pride was gonna come get him. So then he ended up going in the water, but because he came in late, he was by himself, and then the crocodile came and killed him, which was very sad to see. So then it was basically just the female lion, the lioness, and then her 2 cubs left, and then they were trying to survive at that point. I didn't finish the documentary at that point. I maybe watched like half of it, and I didn't know what happened afterwards. But watching what I did watch affected me, and it got me to draw a lot of parallels to what's happening within our culture, what's happening on the streets, what's happening in combat sport, and just kind of what's happening within the psychology of the human being and what we're being trained to become, and it was very disturbing, because to me, I likened it to, rather than the lions working together and be like, hey, we could share this land, or, we could just divide it up, and then you stay there, we stay here. They were killing each other over it, and just, I don't have a problem with the lions killing, other animals because they don't need to survive. I mean, that's a survival instinct, they need to eat meat, and if they don't eat, they're gonna die. So that's why they go after these bulls and these deers or whatever that they choose to eat. But for them to kill each other, that's something that's not necessary. For them to do that, I really dislike that. I don't like the idea of a pride coming in, and especially just killing the cubs and everything too. It's like they kill the king of the lion, of the king of the pride, and then they go ahead and kill all the cubs. I have a huge problem with that, and that's something that I'm not proud about at all. That's something that I do not respect them for. But one of my students did mention that, part of it is because of the humans and how they overtake so much land, that they force these lions into such small, territories that they start fighting over it, which is very true. But just seeing that in the documentary just didn't feel well for me, and I likened it to, like you with your family, you with your wife, and then you have your kids, and you're in your home just relaxing. Then all of a sudden these people start coming in there with guns, and then they kill you, and they kill all your kids, and then they take your wife, or they rape your wife, or whatever, and they start making babies with your wife, while you and all your kids are dead. And they just forcibly come in there and just do it. That to me is, that's not something to be proud about. That to me is a horrible thing. And as humans, we should never strive to become that. We should evolve beyond animals, and that's why it gets me to think about the statements of, people make, oh, he's an animal. Like that's not a positive thing when it comes to this sort of context. Like that's not something that we should strive to be. We should strive to be beyond the animals and be truly human. Like to be able to be civilized and to be able to communicate and be at peace with each other, to get along, to respect each other, to love each other, and just kind of live together in harmony, but not to kill each other off like this. And then it's like lions are born to be who they are, and they're born to be that way. They can't control those instincts. That's just who they are. And as humans, if we look up to these lions and we want to become that, we want to resemble that, that's not a positive thing to resemble. And then they would use that to support, the ruthlessness of like some of these militaries, or some of these gangs, or the corrupted police, or use this as a symbol for combat sport and football and boxing, cage fighting, any sort of combat sport. They could use this lion and the way that they are to be a symbol for what they strive to be within their sport. And it's really not too different than these gang battles, like one pride, it's a gang, one gang. Another pride is another gang. So you got one gang that has their territory, and then they see another gang that's in their territory and they shoot and kill them over it. And there's like gang violence happen out here in the streets all the time. And just recently, that's what happened. A 17-year-old gang member got killed, murdered on the streets. But it was seen as, potentially self-defense. This person was with three other gang members, and they're hanging out at a gas station, and then a rival gang member comes. They start arguing. The four start attacking, chasing after this person, and then the person had a gun. He shot back, and then he shot at them and then killed one person, one of the gang members. So they're fighting over territory, fighting over respect, whatever the case may be. What these gangs are doing, it's like the human version of what is going on with these lions, and fighting over territory, or they want to be the king of the whole thing. They want everything. They can't share with another pride. And I think that's a big problem. And that's the justification for these combat sport and these boxers, and they'll do whatever it takes to be number one, to win. they'll crush whoever needs to be crushed. They'll kill whoever they need to kill. Knock out who they need to knock out. Put the people in the hospital. They don't care. They'll do whatever it takes to be number one. You know, and this is not fighting for survival. These lions, when they're killing each other like this is not fighting for survival. This is just fighting, out of ego, out of pride. And it's even called pride, the one pride. So they're fighting for pride. And the cage fighting, there's an organization in Japan that's called Pride. So when you're fighting for pride, it's just something that I just disagree with. You're not fighting for survival, you're fighting for pride. And you're willing to kill over it. And and these lions not just kill the king, but kill the cubs as well. Kill off the entire family. So, and you look at Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was like a lion. And then Brandon Lee was like his cub. So they kill Bruce Lee, kill the king, kill the cub, and then only leave one cub left, Shannon Lee, which is a female. Leave Linda Lee alive, and then now she gets remarried to some other guy. So they killed off the pride. And this is not for survival. When people, gang members are killing each other in the streets over territory, that's not for survival. That's to prove something. That's for respect. That's for reputation. That's for pride. And the mentalities of these football players is the same mentality. Destroy the competition. You don't care if they end up in the hospital. You don't care if they even die. As long as you don't go to jail over it. If they die in the football field, you don't care. In the boxing ring, you don't care. They don't care if he dies. As long as you don't go to jail for it and it's legal, you don't care if he dies. You don't care if he gets Alzheimer's or dementia or a concussion or brain damage. As long as you win, that's all that matters in there. And this is the lion mentality. They don't care about, as long as they're ruling, if they're on top, that's all that matters to them. And that, to me, that's not who I am. That's not who I want to become. I have a problem with that. And if the martial arts is that, if people say that that's what martial arts is, then I guess I don't want to be a part of that. If people say that that's martial arts, then I guess I'm not a martial artist according to that definition. So I need to do my research into more of, learning about these different animals. And I don't like the lions and what they represent when it comes to that. But if you look into other animals I've heard about, like the panther, or maybe the tiger, or the cheetah, a very powerful animal that's more independent, that's not dependent on prides, but is independent, and they only kill when they need to kill, not to kill for pride, or kill when they don't have to kill. That's more of what I want to represent. That's more of what I feel the martial arts should be. But not just, not the way the lions are doing it, and not the way these combat sport people are doing it. Even the lions, it's like they'll raise a cub up, and then when the cub gets old enough, he'll even fight with the father or the king to try to overtake the whole pride and potentially kill his own father. And if he loses, then he's booted out, and then he has to start his own thing, you know what I mean? Like, start his own pride somewhere else. And like, I don't like that, you know. um, and I feel as humans we need to grow beyond that, you know. And I don't want to represent that. It's not in my heart to do so. You know, and a really relevant story that Osho shared in one of his books that I read was he talked about like an Indian ruler that was compassionate. And then there was another ruler that wanted to overtake this Indian ruler. And every time he tried to overtake his country, he lost. He lost 18 times in a row. And the Indian ruler thought, you know, let him go every time. He didn't finish him. He didn't take over his country. He just let him go, thinking that, you know, this person's gonna end up committing suicide, or he's not gonna invade again. He's just gonna give up. But the person didn't give up, and then he attacked one more time, the 19th time, and then he won. And then when he won, he didn't have compassion for the Indian ruler. He pretty much imprisoned him and was about to execute him. And they were teaching this in the history class, and Osho was really upset, saying, well, they're basically praising this ruler for not giving up and to continue to work hard and then finally succeed. Osho didn't like that. He was just basically saying, you know, this person should not be praised. He should be condemned. The person that should be praised is the Indian ruler who had the compassion to pretty much not end this person early on. If he would have just ended it after the first battle, just take his life away or just take over his country, then this wouldn't have happened. But, you know, this is the thing, the discussion that it leads to is like, out of compassion, you don't want to hurt somebody. You let them live. But say afterwards they come back to kill you, because you showed compassion, they come back to kill you. You know, and that's the thing that's very bothersome, is that when you want to be a peaceful person, you want to be loving, you want to be compassionate, but then there's certain people out there that are so ruthless that they will take advantage of that compassion. You know, and I don't want to be the person full of ambition, full of ego, full of pride that wants to overtake everything. That's not who I am. But at the same time, I don't want to be somebody perceived to be weak, inferior. Like they always talk trash about the sheep or the herd mentality, you know, the masses, just like the masses. Everybody wants to be like the lion. Nobody wants to be just the sheep that just so peaceful, eating grass, and then they just get killed off by these lions. Like, I don't want to be the lion. I don't want to be the sheep. I want to kind of be in between, where I'm powerful, but I'm compassionate. You know, I don't want to kill, but I'll kill if necessary. Like, if my instincts tell me that if I don't kill this person, he's going to end up killing me, then I might have to kill this person. If my instincts tell me, you know, I don't have to kill this person, and I think I'll be okay and safe, even if I don't kill this person, then that'll be my decision. But there's a lot that could be learned from observing these animals and how they live and what they do, because I feel in our base level as humans, the worst that we could be are like the animals. And a lot of these people that are functioning out of these very aggressive and violent expressions, not just in sport but in streets, like the corrupted police and these violent criminals and these gangbangers and these people in the mafia, these, certain people in the military. It's like at our base level, we are like the lions. When somebody, just like the movies like Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, and Scarface, and Godfather, it's like, they might see somebody driving a nice car and they get jealous and they just kill the person and then take the car. They see somebody with a beautiful wife, they kill the person and take the wife. I mean, at the base level, we are like these animals, like these lions. We see something we want and then we go get we do whatever it takes to get it. And that's not what I want to be. I don't want to be an animal. I want to be a fully conscious, awake human being. I want to be a creative human being. I want to be loving and compassionate. I want to live a life that's respected, like the way Jesus is seen, or Buddha, or Lao Tzu. But I don't want to be seen as just this person that's power hungry, that's willing to do whatever it takes to get in power. If it means killing your father, then you'll do it. Killing your mom, you do it. Killing your best friend, you do it. Killing a stranger, you'll do it. Like whatever it takes to get the power, that's what you're willing to do. That's not what I want to be. And I see that these lions are pretty much representing that, and that is very bothersome to me, disappointing to me. As humans, we should strive to be beyond that, even though I don't want to be a person that will do whatever it takes to be in power, to be, to gain recognition or whatever the case may be. Even though I don't want to be the lion, at the same time, it's also in me to kind of be myself, express myself, and expose corruption if necessary. So if I use the power of language to communicate to the people some of the corruption that I see within the martial arts that's being expressed currently, then I'll do it. I'll speak my mind if necessary. But I'm not going to go around killing people or putting people in the hospital to prove myself based off of ego reasons or just to get a little bit more fame, whatever the case may be. It's not in me to do that. That's not survival. To beat somebody up, brutally beat somebody up because you want more fame, or you want a little bit more money, or you want attention. It's not in me to do that. But it is in me to speak against corruption of what I see. And if I speak against this corruption and these people want to be violent towards me, then, and I need to protect my life, then I need to do what I need to do. And then at that point, it's survival. It's like Martin Luther King Jr. protesting against the wrongs, and then people coming to assassinate him because of what he's saying. He's not a violent person if he's trying to prevent himself from being assassinated. He's trying to survive at that moment. But he's not bringing the violence towards the people. So there's a balance. I don't want to be the lion. I don't want to be the sheep. I want to be in between. I want to be fully human. I want to express and share love and compassion, but I still want to be powerful. I don't want to be somebody who's pushed around easily, taken advantage of, stepped on, disrespected, unrecognized, bullied. I want to be powerful, but I want to be independently powerful. I don't want to only be powerful because of my association within a certain group. I want to be powerful within myself. Not like the lions where they need to be a whole pride behind them to be powerful. No, I want to be powerful as an individual. I want to be at peace. I want to promote peace. And I only want to kill if absolutely necessary. I don't ever want to fight and kill over ego and pride. So it's going to take some time for me to build and to be recognized out there for the hard work that I do put into the martial arts. Because I'm not willing to put people in the hospital, knock people out, and hurt people excessively in order to gain respect and attention from the masses. It's just going to take more time, which is fine. But those are my reflections on why I don't want to be a lion. I want to be a real human being. And I even remember Bruce saying that as well. He wants to be a real human being. He never said he wanted to be an animal. And I don't want to be an animal. And I think that's the problem with society now. It's like they're starting to glorify certain individuals that act like animals, out of control, uncontrollable temper, extremely violent, almost on the brink of murder, or being put in jail. It's like they're starting to value these individuals, throw money at these people. And I think that's a very sad thing. I don't want to be a part of that. represents something of consciousness, of enlightenment, spirituality, of meditation.